guys, my name is Sam. Welcome to Ready for Takeoff. Ready with the VR? Do you get it? Anyways, today we're going to be learning how to get into VR as a whole, the industry, how to learn VR, what you should do first. You don't know. You're new. That's okay. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get caught up to date on what's actually going on in the industry. Because why would you go into an industry if you don't even know what's going on, right? And if someone asks you, you're expected to know what's going on. So I recommend Upload VR and Road to VR. Those are two news sites that post regularly on VR news. There's also a Facebook page called XR, and then MR, AR, VR, AI. It's the same group. They just put everything together. I'll put all these links in the description, but they post news there too and other cool stuff on what people are doing. The next tip is kind of like the first tip, learning about what's going on in the industry, but it's more about hearing what's going on. So we have panels, talks, conferences, and keynotes. Vive, Oculus / Facebook, Google, and Mike Auger, he talks about UI, which is user interfaces in VR, and he does very good talks. Like, he puts like animated, what he's saying animated, and it's amazing, really. But you should really listen to these, and because sometimes the news don't really talk about the specifics of things, and the keynotes, you're really getting in depth into the VR industry. And then if someone asks you, you can be like, yeah, I saw that keynote. Hello. There's also Voices of VR podcast. They talk, the guy, what he does is basically interview a bunch of people involved in the VR industry, and wow, my hair just and they talk about what they're working on, certain topics that might not regularly be discussed in the VR industry, and it's really interesting. So now that you're in the industry, so to speak, you gotta learn VR. So what do? Do you know programming? Learn it. You don't know how to program? YouTube videos. Well, virtual reality is developed many different ways. There's a web plugin, JavaScript for JavaScript and stuff like that. There's Unity, there's Unreal Engine. Those two are game engines, and I'm pretty sure Amazon's new Lumberjack game engine also supports it. But what I found is that most people use Unity. Like, Unreal's good, but most people use Unity, and I feel like because it's more, there's more like documentation for it. Like, I'm not saying the other one doesn't have documentation, but it's more of the standard to use Unity. But when you're applying for a job, sometimes they're like Unreal or Unity experience, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But if you don't know which one to pick and you want to pick one, I would suggest Unity, because from what I've seen, most people use it. Also, Unity uses the C# language and JavaScript. You could use either or. I use the C# one, and Unreal uses the C++. So I didn't even know C# going into Unreal, but it's kind of the same thing as C++ in Unity, just some minor changes. So as long as you know a programming language, you don't really need to be worried about like C# and C++, like the differences in the game engines. I personally haven't tried Unreal, but I'm just telling you what I know, really. Also, just a disclaimer, I'm not an expert on this stuff. I just started a while ago, but I want to share what I know so far, because people don't really know how to get into VR, really. It's kind of like an unapproachable topic, like, oh, only super geniuses can get into it. And trust me, I'm not super genius, and I'm just learning slowly by slowly, how the entire industry works and how to develop. And if you're one of those people, or you are a super genius, that's fine too. I hope you can find something worthwhile in my video. So as I was saying, so I'm just gonna go off of Unity for now. To learn Unity, I would suggest, they have on their website tutorials. I would suggest the Roll a Ball tutorial. It kind of introduces you to the whole environment of Unity, and yeah, you just get accustomed to how everything works, how to make a basic scene, how to move the ball, blah 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 blah. So after that, you're like, okay, I still don't know what to do here. So what I did is I entered a game jam in which I had to make a game in less than 72 hours. Of course, there's longer ones, but I would suggest entering a short one. So I didn't really know Unity, and I'm just entering this game jam out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh god, what do I do? So I made a really simple game, 3D game where you like jump on obstacles. But that's not the point what I'm trying to make here. The point is that I didn't know how to do stuff. So I just Googled it while I was searching. So I was like, how do I do this? How do I do that? For 2 or 3 days. And after that, I kind of knew how everything connected. It's like that feeling you get where you're like, oh my god, I understand this. So I would suggest making a quick thing, challenging yourself so that you are forced to Google things and search things up on your own. I'm personally a more visual learner, so videos really help me a lot. I'm not sure about books. They bore me too easily. I get so distracted with the books. For me, I just go videos because they really explain everything well. Also, forums, Unity 3D forums, and Stack Overflow are your friend. So after you've made the small project, I suggest a longer project and non-VR. Because you don't just want to jump in yet. You want to get more accustomed. Because you're like, okay, I got this so far, but can I really challenge myself now? So what I did is that, I keep saying, so what I did. I made a small game for Android in which obstacles come up from the bottom and you just kind of press to dodge. It's called There Is No Floor. If you want to check it out, it'll be in the description. Shameless plug. And basically everything that I had learned last time kind of transferred over here, but there were still things that I forgot that I did last time in this project, so I was forced to research them. And it took hours, sure, for some simple bug, but it was worth it, because now, like, you're more in tune of how things work in Unity. Like, this bug? Oh, maybe it's from that. You know what I mean. So after you make your longer project, mine took a couple weeks, more than a month, maybe 2 months, I'm not sure. I would suggest, Jesus, my hair. I would suggest starting on a VR project now. I'm working on a cardboard game, a Google Cardboard game for the Android now, and I'm just learning how the VR works in general, because it's a little confusing with the UI and stuff. But since I know things from my previous projects, it's not as challenging, and I feel much more comfortable with the environment. So basically, VR is just putting an SDK, which is basically like a plugin of a certain company, so that you can utilize their functions or whatever. And it's just that imported into Unity, and you just use what they give you. And they kind of give instructions for it. So it's not that difficult once you know how Unity works. So I suggest working on a VR project. A little long term, not too much. Just to get how the feeling of things work. Or if you have a goal and you're like, I want to make a prototype of this, you can do that too. So now you're like, oh my god, I made an app. But wait, I don't have a headset. How do I try this on? Okay, well, option 1, you don't have money. Google Cardboard, $15. Some people sell them for like 5 to 10. So that's if you really don't have money to spend. Or if you want to develop for mobile, that's good too. Another option I would recommend for mobile is the Samsung Gear VR or Daydream. The Samsung Gear VR is for Samsung devices only, while the Daydream is for all Android devices, and it's cheaper than the Samsung by quite some bit. So that's about 70 to 120 range of dollars, and it's to develop for the Android environment. For Apple, Google Cardboard works. I'm not sure. If you hear a noise, by the way, that's my dog snoring. Just ignore it. I'm not sure what you would use for iOS. A Google Cardboard, normal VR headsets work too. Currently, Android is the most viable option for virtual reality mobile department. So what if you have a great PC? You need I believe a GTX 960 or above. You can check on like Oculus or Vive's website and see if your PC is ready for a headset. But imagine your PC is ready, or you don't have it, you can buy a new video card, whatever, and you have some money to spend. Do you buy an Oculus? Do you buy a Vive? What do you buy? Well, if you don't have that much money, and you're like a college student like me, I bought the Oculus at $400 in the summer sale. Now, I don't know how long the summer sale lasts. I heard it lasts like 6 weeks. So I'm not sure when you're viewing this, it'll still be $400. They said the permanent price is $500, so it's still lower. But I took advantage of that and I bought it for $400. I also bought it off of Best Buy. And they have like, they gave like, okay. So the new bundle they took away stuff because it's less money, so it could be more profitable for them. So the new bundle comes with the Oculus Rift. It comes with 2 sensors. 2 sensors is kind of like when you want to go like walk around your room a little bit. 1 sensor is when you want to stay standing in one place or just sitting down. Okay, with 2 sensors and touch controllers, which are like individual controllers for your hands, so you can be like pa 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 pa. So it's a pretty good deal. Now from Best Buy, I got 2 sensors. I got the touch controllers. I got the headset. I got a $40 game. I got an Xbox controller, and I got a little Oculus remote, which is more for like casual scrolling and things. And also Oculus Store has a bunch of free games, so it's really worth it. The Best Buy one is the better deal, but it's because they have the previous stock, so they're waiting to get rid of it. So if you see that one, I say go for it. I'll put the link in the description if it's still there. And for Vive is honestly way more used than Oculus. It's more prevalent in the gaming scene as well. But it costs $800, and it's recommended to get a deluxe head strap for $100. So you're looking at quite a bit of money here. If you don't care about money, then gee golly, choose, man. Whichever one you want. But if you are worried about money, I would suggest the Oculus because in terms of development, they kind of do the same thing. And when you are actually going to develop something, you want to develop for both of them. If it's like a good finished project. So you'd have to buy both anyways. Or if you just have the Oculus, you could just upload to the Oculus Store, vice versa. But yeah, you decide which one you want. Do some research on it. It's your choice. I would recommend the Oculus. It's a little... For me, it's a little uncomfortable sometimes, but it's because I still have to adjust it. But I'd say it's completely worth it for the price they're asking for. Standalone headsets are going to come soon in which you don't need a phone nor a PC. But that's more like phone-ish. Like, it has the qualities of a phone headset. So, I mean, it's not very powerful as the PC. So, next tip is to, while you're doing all this, you can read some stuff. Now, there's a Bible in the VR industry, and it's called Ready Player One. I'm still reading it because I'm not a big reader either, but it's like how virtual reality incorporated itself into a future world, and it's kind of like the mainstream. Like, you do everything in VR in this book, so it's kind of like the Bible. They reference it everywhere. So if you're gonna be in the VR industry, you need to have this and read it for sure. There's also the Fourth Transformation, which is kind of talks about the same topics. I haven't read that one, but I heard it's really good. It's a little bit more expensive than this one, about $17. There's also Virtual Reality Insider, which tells you about the VR industry. For Kindle, it costs $3, paperback like $8 or $9. I'll put all these links in the description for Amazon, so you can just look down there. And I also saw one that says VR UX, Learn VR UX, which is user experience, storytelling, and design. So if you're more into the storytelling part, I recommend that book. It's pretty cheap too. So you've done all this, and you're ready to get into the VR industry. And if you want to learn more about the VR industry, this is the new channel, but be sure to subscribe. That also helps. I just touched my mic, sorry. This is the new channel. I also have another gaming channel, which I've been doing for quite some time, called Blue Bunny Gamer. Definitely not as serious as this one. Oh jeez. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe and share this with your fellow people. And the most important thing is to actually just start, because I waited a really long time until I got to college to learn coding and really do what I want to do. And I didn't have to wait this long. I could have learned to code before and have done a bunch of awesome stuff, but I was like, well, I don't really feel like doing it. I'm just gonna watch anime or shows or play video games all day, which is completely fine, right? But if you just allocate some time to learning this each day or each week, then you'll definitely like get a step up from everyone else. So yeah, I'm signing out. I feel like I should have a great catchphrase at the end, so we're ready for takeoff. Ready. Bye.